Yet another sex scandal and cover-up rocking the Trump administration, this time involving its labor secretary of all things, Lori Chavez DeRemer, and her husband. Two separate investigations, and showing a cover-up that dates back at least till December, involving the husband, who's now been banned, according to the New York Times and other reports, from the hallways of the Department of Labor because he sexually assaulted two of this labor secretary's female staffers, caught on video. That's not the only thing caught on video. Apparently, the Inspector General for the Department of Labor under Donald Trump, and let's be frank, there's no more compromised Inspector General than one working for Donald Trump, but even they couldn't look the other way on allegations that the secretary herself, the labor secretary herself, has engaged in not only a hostile work environment, but has taken her underlings and staffers to a strip club in Oregon. Yes, and we actually know the name of the strip club from the OIG records. Took him to the Angels PDX strip club. And now the Inspector General is looking for video not only of the strip club visit, but also for her apparently having frequent meetings with her, how do I put this nicely? Her lover, her side piece outside the marriage, regularly meeting with some sort of affair, both in her Washington, D.C. Apartment and in a hotel room in Las Vegas. What kind of marriage is this? But it is emblematic, is it not, of the rot that is the top of the Trump administration. Of course it would be the Trump administration who's in the midst of covering up the cover-up of the Epstein child sex trafficking ring. Of course they would tolerate and abide having a labor secretary whose husband is accused of being a sexual predator, and whose wife, the labor secretary, is doing maybe worse in terms of abusing her staffers. There's even allegations by in the Inspector General's investigation that the labor secretary has a secret stash of liquor and drinks on the job. Wow. And put this all into context. Look how the world is handling their dirty laundry when it comes to sex scandals, right? Norway indicts its ex-prime minister for his relationships with Jeffrey Epstein. UK arrests the former Prince Andrew, now Andrew Windsor Mountbatten, whatever it is. They actually arrest him for his relationships to Epstein, right? People in the Starmer government in UK, their heads are falling because of relationships there. Former ambassadors losing their positions and being criminally investigated. In the United States, leaders of the entertainment industry, of law, of business, former politicians are all in academia, all losing their jobs because I didn't realize so many people were white-knuckling the release of the 3 million pieces of paper in the Epstein files, but apparently they were. That's how the world and everything, every place but the Trump administration deals with its dirty laundry. But of course, Donald Trump has known about this since December 18th, since December when the investigations by the Met Police were opened. And yet we did not know about it until it just came to light in the last 24 hours. Another cover-up. Look at the amount of energy and time the Trump administration is using to cover up sex scandals. Of course, you have a person in the White House who's a criminal in chief, felon in chief, who himself has been accused and adjudged to be a sex abuser. See E. Jean Carroll. That case is so gross in terms of his behavior that the United States Supreme Court doesn't even want to hear his appeal. They postponed that several days. And look at this MAGA party. Look at this MAGA party. In the same 24 hours that it's come to light that Lori Chavez DeRemer's anesthesiologist husband is sexually abusing or assaulting junior staff members for her, we have a Republican congressperson from Texas whose staffer, because of the embarrassment of the affair that she had with him, set herself on fire, and he's still running for a second term. Like, that's okay. Well, of course, to MAGA and Republicans, this is all okay. When you're right, the organization rots from the top, the fish rots from the head. I mean, it is mildly interesting that the person responsible for our labor, employment, employee environments is, according to the allegations, the Inspector General's allegations, is a hostile work environment perpetrator of the first order. Look, when she was a congressperson, there were allegations that she was abusive in her workplace. There's a settlement for almost $100,000 that the Treasury Department had to pay because of her behavior when she was a congressperson. This is who Donald Trump picked to be the labor secretary. It's mildly interesting to talk about this issue, but put it into context. What it is indicative of, another data point for the corruption, for the immorality, for the lawlessness of the Trump administration. This would not be tolerated by any other fill-in-the-blank name of president but Donald Trump. But when you yourself have, as adjudged by a criminal court, participated in a cover-up about your sex acts outside your marriage in the Stormy Daniels case in New York, when other women testified in the E. Jean Carroll case, along with E. Jean Carroll, about Donald Trump sexually abusing them, when you've got the Access Hollywood tape that came out about you saying you could grab women by their P word and get away with it because you were a celebrity. Why are we shocked that we don't have